Greetings, viewers and listeners to CHP Talks. I'm Rod Taylor, National Leader of the Christian Heritage Party of Canada, and this week had a tremendous interviewee lined up, a lady that I know you're going to appreciate when we have a chance to do that interview, but she was unavailable suddenly at the last minute, and so I am going to just tell you about our recent trip across the country. My wife Elaine and I just drove about 14,700 plus kilometers from northern British Columbia over to as far as Montreal. And we did visit along the way. It was 5 weeks of driving across the country back and forth. We were in 5 snowstorms in different places. The worst was in Moosomin, Saskatchewan, on our way heading east, where the power lines were down, tractor trailers were in the ditch, and we were glad to have a place to stay there in the area and have a good day of rest on the Sunday, and then on the Monday the roads were clear again, and we were able to continue our journey. So we had a lot of things that took place. We had meetings along the way in Alberta. We were in Morinville, Alberta, Calgary, and Lethbridge with meetings. We were in Saskatoon and Moosomin, Saskatchewan. We were in Winnipeg in Manitoba. And in Ontario, we had meetings in Thunder Bay, Woodstock, Sarnia, Kingston, Alliston, and Ottawa. And then we did make a one-day trip over to Montreal and met with a couple of our candidates there, as well as a new member. And so we're excited about what this new member is going to bring to the table. We're very pleased to meet always new members along the way, as well as our old faithful members, not old, but faithful longtime members that have been with the party for some years. So on our trip, a number of things were going on. First of all, we were in Ontario. We met with people, elections that were going on there, that are going on there today. And there are 2 parties. Most of you, if you're in Ontario and you are social conservatives, you'll know this. There's the Ontario Party led by Derek Sloan and the New Blue Party led by Jim Karahalios. They each have 1 MPP in office now, and they're hoping to expand their reach. Both are social conservative parties, pro-life parties. And although if you're in Ontario, you will know that there is some conflict between the 2 parties, unfortunately, we do hope that good pro-life candidates in each party will get elected. And for those who are wondering, well, which way do I vote, Ontario Party or the New Blue? I'm just going to say, look at the candidates in your riding. If they're pro-life, ask them a question, find out where they stand on the issues, and vote for the best candidate available to you. And in Saskatchewan, we talked with people. There's 3 new parties forming in Saskatchewan. And a lot of this comes out of frustration with existing parties, and we see that federally as well. And in the provinces, people want truth, they want freedom. They want a party that's going to stand up for principles. And so, of course, there's different ideas how to achieve those goals, how to build a party that represents your values. And so my hat is off to all those who take the effort to build a new party. It's a lot of work. And we certainly hope that the good people who are standing for life, family, and freedom, like those in the Christian Heritage Party, but on the provincial level across this country, we hope that they will find a way of working together to accomplish what God wants to see happen in this great nation of ours in various provinces. In Alberta, while we were away, Jason Kenney resigned after a low leadership approval within his party. So there will be new leadership interest going on there, people putting their hat forward now, or they're putting their hat in the ring, putting their name forward to be on the ballot for the United Conservative Party. And we'll see what happens there. On our way, while we were in Calgary, we did visit Pastor Archer Palowsky, a friend of ours, and we've appreciated for a long time and admired for his principled stand for freedom, biblical values, and morality, and for the way that he and those that work with him have been feeding the homeless, the downtrodden for years and years. At great personal sacrifice, they've been making sure that people who are on the streets in Calgary are not starving and helping them out. And yet Arthur has just spent 51 days in solitary confinement based on his preaching basically to the truckers at the Coots border crossing. And he is now under a type of a house arrest. He cannot leave the house after 7 p.m. And he's facing charges of terrorism. Can you believe it? Terrorism for preaching the gospel and for standing for freedom in this country that once was free, and in a place where we now are losing some of those freedoms, or at least those freedoms are under attack. While we passed through Saskatchewan on our way east, we happened to see the veteran James Topp and those that are with him. James is walking across the country to Ottawa to bring the issue of freedom to the Prime Minister. We hope that the Prime Minister will give him an audience when he gets there. But it was our privilege to attend a meeting where James spoke about what he's doing, why he's doing it. And that particular day, the winds were blowing. The flag, I was amazed they could even hold on to the flag that they're carrying as they're marching across the country. And but James spoke passionately about the need to stand up for freedom in our country. If we don't stand up for our freedom, we're going to lose it. We also while we were in Ottawa, we had two events. We went to Ottawa twice, actually. The first event was the Canada Strong and Free Conference, used to be called the Manning Conference. And we had a booth there representing the Christian Heritage Party, and people could come and get brochures, business cards, and talk to us about our policies. We had a number of young people came and spoke to us, very encouraging that young people who are working in the political realm are interested in the policies of the Christian Heritage Party. And while we were there, I did have a chance to shake hands, basically a very brief meeting with Leslyn Lewis as she passed down the hallway. We shared a lot of good conversation with Tom Harris, who is the head of the International Climate Science Coalition. He was our guest last week on CHP Talks. If you did not catch that, you'll want to go back in the archives and pick it up, because tremendous knowledge on all the issues around science, the climate change, and carbon dioxide. So he also wrote our communique this past week. If you are not now receiving our communique, go to our website at chp.ca. And at the bottom, you can sign up to receive our weekly communique absolutely free by email. And so Tom also has written a very good article on the issue of climate change and our responsibility not to get hoodwinked and deluded and pulled into useless and harmful ways of approaching climate. Had a chance to meet Preston Manning once again and shake his hand, a man who's done a lot in our country politically, and the founder of the Reform Movement, founder of the Manning Conference. And we exchanged books. He was doing a book signing. I also gave him a copy of my book, which I signed for him. Later on, we were witnesses, or were able to sit in the audience as the 5 of the 6 Conservative Party leadership contestants had a debate there. They called it an unofficial debate. The first official one was in Edmonton a little bit later, but it was good to hear what they had to say. And for those who do not know, I don't know how you would not know this, but if you are a Conservative Party member and you're planning to vote in the Conservative Party leadership contest, you should know that Leslyn Lewis is the only pro-lifer remaining on the ballot. All the other 5 are all supporters of what they call pro-choice, or it's a pro-abortion position. So you may like Pierre Poilievre for his articulate defense of freedom and economics and so on. He's quite good on his feet, very good at basically pointing out the flaws of Justin Trudeau's liberal policies in his government. However, Pierre Poilievre is not pro-life, and I hope that's an issue that is important for you. Of course, there were 3 other pro-life contestants who are not going to be on the ballot. I interviewed all 3 of them: Mark Dalton, Grant Abraham, and Joseph Bourgault. One was disqualified because he didn't raise enough money, Mark Dalton, and of course that's no fault of his own. It's just the way things happen, and we did appreciate being able to interview him while he was still in the running. And the other 2, Grant Abraham and Joseph Bourgault, it appears that they were eliminated by a bit of skullduggery within the leadership election committee of the Conservative Party. Anyway, can't say too much about that. I don't know the inner workings of that, but it has been my privilege to speak to some of these folks in the process, and I'm sorry that pro-lifers were ejected from the ballot basically on, I think, spurious accusations that they didn't raise the money or didn't get enough nominations. It looks like it was the inner workings of an inner circle that didn't want them on the ballot. But anyway, so we did hear the ones that are still there, except for Patrick Brown. He wasn't there yet in Ottawa for that debate. Then we went back to Ottawa again the following week for the March for Life. It was my privilege to speak for a couple of minutes there on the Hill. We call it on the Hill, Parliament Hill, to a very enthusiastic and vibrant crowd of pro-lifers. And there were other speakers that had great things to say as well. And it was good to be there and express our support on behalf of the members of the National Board of the Christian Heritage Party. It's just good to let people know that we still stand for life, family, and freedom. While we were in Ontario, we also had the privilege of attending worship services, 2 different Sundays with Michael Thiessen of Liberty Coalition, Liberty Dispatch. And Michael has been one of the ones who has faced some charges and trials for basically keeping his church open during the lockdowns. And also at another church in Windsor, Pastor Aaron Rock at the Harvest Bible Chapel. And so it was great to be in the service with them, hearing the word of God in a free and enthusiastic and basically unmasked crowd. There's the congregation there is very enthusiastic about the freedom that we have in Christ. We also attended a meeting where Joe Boot was the speaker, Joe Boot from the Ezra Institute. Tremendous speech, presentation, and it was just good to meet Joe. I ran into Fatine Grisseshi just for a few moments at the Canada Strong and Free conference. She was just passing by. I didn't have a chance for an in-depth conversation with her. I know she is also crisscrossing the country with a message for Christians in this nation. And I'm going to be interested in what she has to say. Also, another person we met this time for the first time is Anna Maris, who was our social media coordinator, working with us in Ontario and helping us do better with our Twitter and Facebook feeds and posts. So we appreciated getting to meet her for the first time in person. while we were there, when we spoke last Saturday night in Merrifield, Saskatchewan, near Moosomin, we spoke about some of the bills that are being passed. First of all, you all know about C4. We've talked about it before. The conversion therapy ban bill that passed without any opposition in the House of Commons on December 1st. And so that, of course, remains a blight on the conservative membership, even people that we love and appreciate who are members of the Conservative Party and are members of Parliament. Not one of them did resist that. So we're not sure where that's all going to go, but it looks like it opens the door for the criminalization of parents and pastors who speak biblical truth either to their children or to parishioners regarding sexual orientation, sexual identity, and the expression of that. People trying to get out of a lifestyle that is not working for them, and the legal challenges that we will be facing as Christians if we speak biblical truth into that situation. The fact that God made us male and female, and there aren't 50 different kinds of genders. There is male or female, and we stand by that biblical claim, and we think that all who name the name of Christ should stand for creation as God designed men and women. It's the only design that works, and we trust the Creator to know what's best for us. C11, mention a couple of other bills here that you probably know about, but I'm just going to mention them, and you should be concerned. You should be talking to your MP about them. C11 is the government internet. They're considering it, hate speech bill, but they will be controlling what is allowed to be presented on the internet, or they want to be controlling that. We hope that they fail in their efforts to limit free speech on the internet in Canada. But be aware that that's what C11 is designed to do. C261 is even worse. It takes hate speech, which of course is subject to interpretation. What is hate speech? And I don't think you and I are going to like how Justin Trudeau defines hate speech. Really, the Bible is going to be considered hate speech by those who oppose a Christian worldview, especially regarding gender and the right to life and those types of things, and personal freedom. But C261 goes a step further. It allows someone to make an accusation against you, not because you've committed a crime against them, but if they think you might commit a hate crime, you might publish or say something that might hurt their feelings or cause them to be afraid, they can bring that to a judge. And if the judge is convinced that they're correct, you could be punished. You could be under house arrest, have electronic monitoring device, have your firearm seized just for something that you have not done yet, but someone thinks you might do. Terrible, terrible idea. We hope it is banished to the pit forever, but there are people who think this is the way to go in our country. And then C223, we've talked about it in the past. Also, the universal basic income. There's people that think that the taxpayers should be paying a living income, a living wage to everyone 17 years of age and older, regardless if they're working, regardless if they're going to school, regardless if they're trying to find a job or taking training to, there's no requirement of any sort. If this bill were to pass, and I can't imagine it would pass, but things are crazy nowadays in this country, C223, be sure that you let your MP know that you do not want to be shelling out tax dollars for someone who's not even trying to find a job, not even trying to go to school, just sitting on the couch and waiting for government to drop a living wage in his or her lap. Well, that's about it, folks. Next week, we will have an exciting guest. I can't tell you who that is yet, but wait and see. And for now, I just want to say thank you for listening or watching us at CHP Talks. We will continue to press the truth claims for God's creation, his sovereignty over this nation, and to defend life, family, and freedom. Thank you so much. God bless you. See you next week for another edition of CHP Talks.